Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Wetzel, and I am the e-commerce manager for School Health. I just wanted to start off by thanking you for joining us today in learning about safety training in schools. This is our second session of the day, and so I just realized we still have the 3 p.m. Central Time on our PowerPoint, but it is 7 p.m. Central Time, so you guys are at the right session. I apologize for not updating that first slide. But from the feedback I've already received on today's webinar topic, it seems that safety training is a topic of concern within our school systems because too often the training is underfunded, disorganized, or even overlooked. Our presenter today, Alan Rosenauer, is all too familiar with these issues surrounding training in schools. As the CEO of Compliance Publishing, Alan and his team have provided over 55,000 customers with the regulatory information and safety solutions they need to maintain and organize their regulations with ease. Alan himself has been providing regulatory compliance information to companies for the past 28 years. His goal today is to show you what training is required for schools, how schools should properly maintain their safety certificates, and best practices for managing your school safety program. But before I hand it off to Alan, I would like to review a few things about today's webinar. The first item is that we will not be taking audio questions, but would like you to submit your questions via the questions interface in GoToWebinar. We encourage you to submit your questions at any time during the presentation, but we will have a question and answer session at the end. So Alan is planning to take up to 40 minutes for his presentation, and then we'll leave the remaining time to answer the questions that you have typed in during the presentation. This webinar will be recorded, and a link to it will be posted on the schoolhealth.com website after the webinar, as well as emailed to you for future playback. And everyone who attends today is going to receive a certificate of attendance for joining us. And you can expect to receive your follow-up email containing a link to the recording and your certificate of attendance in 3 to 5 business days. So you will also be able to request more information from your local sales rep during that time as well. So. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Alan.
Oh, there we go. Now my sound's on. Thanks. My name's Alan Rosenauer. I'm from Compliance Publishing, and like Jessica was telling you, our emphasis in life for the last 28 years has been nothing but regulatory compliance. So basically, what we do is that we look at making sure that employees stay safe in the workplace. Now, one of the primary ways of employees staying safe is that they have proper training on everything proper training on safety. Well, what we're going to concentrate on in the school level, there's 3 different types of trainings that really either concentrate on safety or personal information. Now, schools really need to have, number one, as you know, as the school nurses, you need to have your bloodborne pathogens training every year. This is super important because the bloodborne pathogens is going to help you determine and keep you refreshed as to safe practices dealing with a student, dealing when there is something as simple as a bloody nose or a cut on the arm. Things that you're running into every day, but it's how to keep you and others around you safe. And the other part about the bloodborne pathogens training is to help teachers identify hazards when there is blood or other bodily fluids in their classroom, on the fields for the coaches, or any other staff that might run into injuries with students. Now, the 2 other types of safety training that is required. Number one is the bloodborne GHS Hazcom training. That's where you're going to be trained in when there's a spill, when there's a chemical spill. Chemical spills happen all the time in schools. It could be a spill from a cleaning solution, from a janitorial staff, or someone else in the classroom. It could be a spill in the science lab, where things used in very small quantities are pretty much harmless, but when they're spilled in a larger quantity, can be harmful or even deadly. Then the last part is HIPAA training. HIPAA training, where you might traditionally think that it's something that's used just in the physician's office, that actually is really important in the school setting too. As a nurse and also as teachers and coaches, they're made aware of a child's medical condition, and now that information does need to be kept private. Since information is being kept quite often these days in electronic records, there's a much, if you want to call it, a higher propensity for information to get leaked out, information to get to somebody else by mistake. HIPAA training really helps identify areas that caution needs to be taken in when you're handling personally identifiable information, medical information of a student or other staff member. Now, the way that I'm going to show you here a couple things how the training system works. You all. Most of you do conduct training right now, but part of the problem with the training is that it's difficult to use, difficult to administer, difficult to follow up with, to find out, okay, who's taken the training, who hasn't taken the training, to get them to complete the training, storing your training certificates. It's one thing to take the training. It's another thing to administer the training. Both can be difficult. And so I'm going to show you this process of how the I logged into the wrong item. Sorry about that. Hold on one second here. Thought my screen looked a little strange.
Well, it's always good to see the login process, you know?
Yes. Here's the login process. When you log in, all you need to do is put in your username and your password. You log in, and it logs into your specific account. Sorry, I had the wrong login. It's been a longer day, and so when you go to the training center to take training, just click on the training center, and all that someone has to do is just put in their email address. It's pretty simple. What we've done with the training process, we've looked at everything that goes wrong in the training process, and we simplified it. We made it easier. So if someone wants to start taking training, all they need to do is put in their email address. They click on training, put in their email address, and they click Start Training. And then say, okay, I want to take my Bloodborne Pathogens training. I'm going to start now. And if I've started to take it, it's just going to take me exactly where I left off. I can even start over from the very beginning on the introduction. And so now I can just start taking the training, and what's going to happen now is that I'm going to watch a short training video, and then I'm going to take a quiz on that portion of the training video. When I've completed that correctly, it just sends me off to the next video, which I can also do manually if I haven't completed that test. Now it takes me off to the next section, and I can take the next test. And you go through all the modules. Each module is usually 3 to 6 minutes long. The test takes you about another 1 to 2 minutes. And then when you're done completing all of those training modules, then you get your certificate of completion. That you've now completed that particular course. So what it does, it makes it really easy to take training. And you can take training, by the way, either individually or as a group. So if let's say you want to start taking training, and I'm going to log out as an individual, and I wanted to take training as a group, I just put in the my group administrator login. There we go. And when it shows me all the employees that have already registered. And I can just sort of select which employees or select all the employees, start the group training, and then decide, okay, I want to take training. These are the employees that are included, Now I want to take bloodborne pathogens training, and it shows here that I've started the training, but I haven't completed it. These two people haven't started it. So I can just click on Start Now, and it's now going to start the training for all of the employees that are selected, or all of your staff members. If you wish to do a group training, so it allows you to watch the training as a group together, and then you can actually answer questions together. So when someone has a question in your office, well, where do we keep the gloves? Where do we keep I wear a small glove. Where do I find those in case someone has an accident and I need to tend to a student that has a lot of blood on their arm, for instance? These are questions that would be answered as part of that group session. And then when everyone's done with taking the group training together, so you watch it just like you would individually. When you are completed, everybody in that group receives their own individual training certificate. The great part about this is that everything takes place in one place. So you don't have to worry about fiddling around with CDs. Everything's online. So you can take the training anywhere, and it's really easy to administer either individual or group training. And then, as the administrator, another great part about this is the fact that you can see what's happening with every one of your staff members. So you can see, okay, well, Alan, what has he done? Okay, has he completed what he's supposed to? It shows here, okay, he started with the GHS Hazcom, he hasn't completed that. He started the bloodborne pathogen, hasn't completed that. So you can see exactly, not only has a staff member started their training, but how they actually completed it. And if I wanted to, I can just click on the training and policies in progress. I can look at that and say, okay, gosh, Alan, this is what Alan's doing right now. He's sort of started electrical safety. Okay, I'm going to give him a click on a reminder. Click on that reminder. It's instantly going to send that staff member a reminder to continue taking that course. When it does send off that email, by the way, it's also going to give them a button on that email. They just click on that, automatically logs them into the system, makes it easy for them to take that training. Now, another part of this is that let's say you have 100 staff members in your school. Well, there's two ways of actually adding them into the system. You can either click on Add a New Trainee. You can add them in one ad at a time, or you can also click on Import Employee Import. That allows you to select. You can put all your employees in a spreadsheet. You can import them instantly. You can assign them trainings. You can select your file, assign them bloodborne pathogens, electrical safety training, give them a due date if you wish. So I want this to do by November 1st. Then you click import, and what happens is that imports all of your staff members, assigns that training to them, sends each one of them off on an email telling them they've been assigned that specific training, allowing them to go in and start taking that training. Ultimately, you can just import them and have them take their own training at their own time, or they can also, or you can use them, or you can, once they're imported, you can also have them take a training as a group. So this really solves a big problem that a lot of places have, and that's administering all of their training, administering, following up, making sure that everyone who's supposed to have taken their training has taken their training on a regular basis. The system will even remind those employees, so after a year, they have to take their bloodborne pathogens training again, it'll automatically just send them off an email reminder, hey, you need to take your bloodborne pathogens. You don't even have to do anything. It'll do it all for you. So this is really, it's a really easy way of administering your training for any of the training courses. Now this is going to include, like I said, you have log out of group training. You're going to log back into individual. Just show you this. This is actually sort of a great part of this as well. So someone logs in, they can take whatever training that they wish at that moment. So let's say they've already taken their bloodborne pathogens, but they wish to take Hazcom. So they can just they can just log in and say, okay, I want to take my Hazcom training. Start now, and it'll start my Hazcom training. So they don't, it's really easy for them to take that additional training. Now, this part includes, you have bloodborne pathogens training, which you know covers everything dealing with the bloodborne pathogens. It includes the GHS Hazcom training too. So the GHS Hazcom training, that's covering all of your new hazard communications requirements. Your hazard communications, by the way, is changing. It's changing drastically. So right now, where you have your basic MSDS sheet, you probably have them in your office. You're also going to have a lot of your containers then in classrooms, in the classroom chemistry labs that might say labeled as alcohol or maybe labeled as acetone. What's going to happen next year, all that labeling changes. You're going to have to now label everything to what's called a GHS Hazcom label. That GHS Hazcom label has things such as the name of the company. It has the name of the chemical. It has hazard information on that label itself as far as warnings. It has pictograms that tell that so someone can see visually if it's explosive, if it's corrosive, if it's an oxidizer. So all of that's going to be changing. And by the way, the whole compliance program within the MSTS, which I'll show you in a second, there'll be a program in there that will allow you to actually print out those Hazcom labels. But now, getting back to the training part, though, is the training now, the new GHS Hazcom training, teaches you and your staff everything that you guys need to know about the new hazard communication requirements, all these new pictograms, the new MSDS styles, the new labeling styles. It explains that in detail, what you guys need to know to understand the new hazard communications requirements. Very important. Most people, if they've taken a Hazcom training, they might have taken in the past, they deal with general hazard communications. But because so much has changed, they're really trying to get away. People still get injured. They get injured all the time because, okay, you have this long description that something's hazardous, but you look on those bottles and you have these big warnings with a thousand words on it. Nobody reads it. So unless you actually read it, you don't understand the hazards. The new Hazcom training is sort of letting you know that all that's being changed. Now, things that are really dangerous are now going to have a big letter that says danger. It's going to have these pictograms so someone can see instantly. A student, a staff member can see instantly by looking at that bottle with that new GHS Hazcom labeling requirement that's coming out. They're going to see instantly whether, hey, this is corrosive, this is poisonous, this is flammable, without having to read a long label. So this training is going to be very, very important. Hazcom is changing. All your MSTSs are changing over the next year from a standard format to something that's going to have these pictograms on it. Like I said, the corrosive and the explosive pictograms that will be on there, or the hazard statements. So things will become a lot easier to actually read and understand, which is an important part for everybody to know. Now also, and then of course you have HIPAA training. HIPAA training is where before you might have thought it was just for the doctor's office. Like I said before, this is going to help. HIPAA's changed a lot over the last year and a half, where it used to be, okay, if you know something about a student, just don't tell anybody. Now HIPAA has changed so much because things are kept in electronic med records in the nurse's office. Things are sent by the nurse. You might send an email off to one of the teachers. Okay, make sure Bobby doesn't do this because he has asthma. Okay, well, the HIPAA training is going to lets people know you have to be really super careful these days. It's no longer just don't tell someone. It's like making sure that your computers log off after X number of minutes, making sure that when you do send an email, you're only allowed to send certain stuff via email, because if it's critical information, you don't want that to get into the wrong hands. These trainings, they make you think. They make you think twice before you actually do something. So even though you might say, I already know that. I know about HIPAA. I know about bloodborne pathogens. Training is a really good way to let people think again, to sort of understand, oh, maybe the way I was doing it wasn't always the best way, or maybe things have changed because of technology. Especially because of technology, things have changed, and I just can't do it the way that I used to do it. So all this new training is super critical. It's required. This stuff is not optional. Bloodborne pathogens, Hazcom, HIPAA, None of that is optional training. It's all required training. If you have any medical information about any student or staff, you need to have HIPAA training. You know that. If you have, because of all the new changes in chemicals, chemical regulations, of which there's a ton in a school setting, you need to have that Hazcom training. It's no longer. This is not optional. Now, I'm also going to show you here, and besides just the training, that goes along with the whole compliance part of it is tools that sort of balance off with the training. So like with the training, you're going to have the new GHS Hazcom. That also interfaces with the MSDSs. You have your MSDS binder probably in the principal's or the nurse's office. So when there is a spill, you know how to clean something up. And to find an MSDS right now, you're in the system, you might put in, let's say, just 3M and cleaner. And I'm going to show you something here. Right now, when you put that in, okay, it's going to do a quick search, and here we go. And so what you do, you find the chemical you want, you click on it, it shows up on your screen. You can now print it off if you need to, or you click Add to my MSDS as STS, and so now it's part of your MSDS inventory. So it's like an electronic MSDS binder. Instead of having a big yellow one on your wall, well, you can just put it electronically. Now everybody can access it. But now I'm going to show you something here. This is what's new. Only a few companies have changed their MSDSs, but all your MSDSs are about to change. So instead of having just a here's a good example. Instead of just having general information, now you're going to have an MSDS that tells you right away. Everything's going to be in the same format. This is something that's really important for you guys to know, because this is going to be changing in your school. You have to have MSDSs for your chemicals. That is not optional. And right now, when you said you keep in the binder, but all of those MSDSs are going to change over the next year to look just like this, where they're going to show the product's names at the very top. They're going to show these pictograms here that tells you visually what is the warning. They're going to have this thing the signal word that says danger. That's changing. None of this is required on a form right now. They're also going to have things like these hazard statements here that sort of tell you right. So it's like on the front and center, your front page of your MSDS is going to tell you really what you need to be careful of when you're dealing with that chemical. The pictogram, the signal word, the hazard statements here, the precautionary statements. Those are the really most important things to know about when you're handling a chemical and the chemical spills, when you're doing anything with it, how to take care of it properly, how to clean it up properly, so that way you know exactly if something spills, what to do. And of course, your MSDS is going to have your first aid measures are right here, your firefighting measures, accidental release. All that information is really critical, but what's changing is that all this information is going to be exactly the same from MSDS sheet to MSDS sheet, company to company, starting next year. Some companies like Sigma Aldrich, which you probably get some of your chemicals from now, they're starting to change to the new GHS format, while other companies haven't yet. And so over time that will be changing. All of this ties into your Hazcom training. That's what the Hazcom training is all about. It's about these new MSDS sheets, the new GHS labels, which the system will be able to print for you as well. So when you need to find something, you're going to be able to find it very quickly, very easily. This database has millions of MSDSs in it, by the way. So really, it's pretty unlikely that something you have isn't part of this system. And of course, this system is constantly updated. So as companies come out with the new GHS MSDS sheets, they'll be populated in this system, making it very easy for you to find exactly what you want, really saving you lots of time. And by the way, I know I'm talking fast. I do talk fast a lot, and I do apologize. But the whole thing behind this OSHA compliance program that we're looking at is so you can spend less time doing the administration, less time administering training, MSDSs, states plans, and all that, and more times doing what you like to do best, and that's dealing with the students and the staff. So sort of trying to lower the required paperwork. It's sort of it's taking care of some of that for you. The other thing that's really great about this is that it puts everything together in one place. So as soon as when someone's taking training, all their training certificates are going to be kept in the training center. You'll also find them all the training certificates under the My Docs and forms. Secured, of course, because when someone takes a training, you want to make sure that that information is kept private. So all those training certificates will still be will be kept right at this under this area. And but so otherwise, so well, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. So the the whole system is just designed to keep you organized, keep everything in one place. We keep your records, by the way, forever. So we take care of all your records retention. So when someone took a training course, it's going to be on this system forever and ever. So you don't have to worry about where do I keep my training certificates, how long do I have to keep them. They're now overflowing on the file cabinet. I like to put those into dead storage. You don't have to do that anymore because this doesn't take up any more file cabinet space because everyth's now online. You, of course, can download these certificates at any time. You can search for them at any time. Search and print them out, but you don't have to deal with that. The system deals with that for you 100%. Now, beyond the MSDSs, so here's within that GHS Hazcom allows you to find your MSDSs, put them into your own MSDS inventory. So like I said, if you just click on Add My MSDSs, it'll put it right into that system for you, where it's always going to be there available for you. Now, the other part that goes along with that entire part of the training, especially the GHS Hazcom training, your Bloodborne Pathogens training, is the creation of your safety plans. Everyone has to have the safety plans. That's a requirement. But quite often people don't. Either they create the safety plans once, and when they never update them because they're difficult to take to create, or even if they do create them, they never update them. With this system here, we allow you. We make it possible so you guys can create your safety plans and modify them very easily. All these safety plans, your exposure control plan. So like if someone is exposed to a bloodborne pathogens or some other pathogens, what do? How do you take care of that? Where are your personal protective equipment? Like for instance here, I'll open this up for you. So for instance here, it asks you a whole slew of questions, dozens and dozens of questions. All these white boxes indicate a question that goes into your exposure control plan. So let's say I'm going to deal with program administration. So here it's asking you, okay, well, who's responsible to implement your exposure control plan? Who's going to maintain it? What's the phone numbers? Who's going to determine, for those employees determined to have an occupational exposure to infectious materials must comply. So this person here will provide and maintain all the necessary personal protective equipment. So this helps you put down on writing who's doing what, where things are kept and stored, who's maintaining them, if someone is exposed, who to contact. All that information is really important. So when something happens, you are prepared. So that way you can just look at this document and say, okay, gosh, this is who, if we had an accident, this is who I call. It's now in my exposure control plan. Nice thing about this system, it makes it easy to do. You literally put in a person's name, so Bob, capitalize it for you. Bob Johnson. Minnesota, everybody's called Johnson. It's the most common last name here, so I use it a lot. So Bob Johnson's responsible for maintaining the exposure control plan. Betty White. I can't even type today. She'll maintain, review, and update the exposure control plan at least annually. So you check that, and then you save it. And then what happens here, it changes these little white boxes to green. If you ever want to see what your safety plan is looking like as you've made it or what it's going to look like at the end of the day, you just click on Preview. And you're going to be able to see, okay, this is, by the way, this was my high school that I went to years ago. And so anyways, it shows you exactly, it creates a perfect exposure control plan. This was my elementary school, by the way, Cedar Manor. So anyways, so this was, it shows you exactly. Anything in bold is what you've actually filled in. So, Cedar Manor Elementary is committed to providing a safe and healthful work environment. So a little bit of fluff, and then it goes right into everything about your exposure control plan. So it talks about program administration. Bob Johnson, which is what I just typed in, he's responsible for this. Betty White's responsible for that. Phone number, we haven't put that in yet, so it says not completed. And it's going to go through this entire part, step by step, talking about job titles, locations, and tasks, everything that you need to know about personal protective equipment, exposure control plans, what to do about it, your hepatitis B vaccine, post-exposure evaluation, and follow-up. Gives you all the information that you need to know, so when something happens, you are prepared to deal with it and deal with it without it being a problem. And here's the other great thing about it. You created it, okay, staff moves on, you now have a new person here. So now instead of Bob Johnson taking care of it, it's now Jim Johnson. So now Jim's there instead of Bob. All you have to do is put in Jim Johnson's name. You hit save, and when it's done, you would hit publish if the whole thing was completed. But now, if you notice, I click preview, and now it's already been changed. Now it's instead of Bob, it now says Jim. So the ability to update your exposure control plan or any of your safety plans is now a matter of a couple seconds instead of having to redo an entire thing, printing out a whole bunch of new ones, or even trying to find it or trying to find out some old file that you created and update it. You can now update it instantly right online in just a couple seconds. And then once you've actually published your plan, now to publish it, you need to have an administrative access. But once it's been published, everybody who logs into your system can now view the plan. So if they were published, they would be showing right on under here. They can just click on it and view the plan. Alternately, once the plans have also been published, then they're automatically part of the training center, which means you can assign each one of your staff members to read and certify that they have read and understood that safety plan that's been created. They'll get a certificate showing that they've read and understood it. So that way, you know, your entire staff, that you know that they have been they've read it, they've understood it, they're aware of if there is an emergency, if something bad happens, they know what to do. They're better prepared. And also, you don't have to worry about chasing after 100 staff members saying, hey, you know, can you please read this over, and when you're done, drop it back at my desk. You know that never happens because you do, and it's like half them do. Then you have to start spending a lot of your time tracking down someone. Okay, you know, Gary, I need you to read this thing. I need you to sign on the bottom that you've read it, and I'll put it into your personnel file. This is the way that you can do everything electronically. If you can actually as soon as that safety plan's available, then you're actually able to assign it to your employees. You can have them read it. You can maintain them. So you can actually, for instance here, assign policy. If it's been completed, it'll show up under here, where you can actually have your hazard control, your exposure control plan would show up here. You can click on that, assign to your staff members, and assign it. And every one of them would receive a notice via email that they've been assigned to actually read it and certify it. So that's another big part of this entire OSHA compliance, safety compliance for your schools. The best thing is, I keep on saying, this keeps it all together in one place. This keeps it so it's easy to maintain, easy to administer, and you never have to worry about where is anything. So at this point, I think I've gone through most of the system. If you have any questions, by all means, please type in your questions in the chat window. I know there's got to be a couple questions out there for you. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So this is going to, a couple of some people have asked, like they asked last time, so like what's the difference between group training and individual training, which was an important question, because what group training allows you to do is it allows you to take your staff or part of your staff into, let's say you have a lunchroom, and you watch the training together, you answer the questions together, and everyone in that group gets certified, gets your own individual training certificate, versus taking the training individually where a person takes it at their own leisure. Now with the system, you can do both. You can have some people take it individually, some people take it as a group, or you can have someone who's taken 1 or 2 courses as a group and take the rest individually. So this does give you the ultimate in flexibility as well. So if someone can be part of a group training, wonderful. And if they can't make it, they can take it on their own. But the nice thing about this type of training also is that it keeps everything consistent. Everybody gets the same message. Everybody has to take has to understand the same materials, and you don't forget about it. You don't forget about, oh gosh, I forgot to bring this thing up during a staff meeting about personal protective equipment, because the training itself, it doesn't change. It doesn't get tired about talking about it, because it just does it over and over again, thousands of times, over and over again. I think I covered everything. There are going to be 2 versions of the Bloodborne Pathogens training available. One's going to be a nurses/healthcare version, which will be a lot more technical. There's also going to be a teachers and educators version of the Bloodborne Pathogens, which is going to be a little more friendly, if I can call it, towards your coach and towards your teacher, who doesn't need to know a lot of the technical parts or a lot of the hazards dealing that a nurse might, but the average teacher or the average coach won't have to deal with. So there'll be two versions that people will be able to take as well. So that being said, I'm gonna Jessica, tell me, do we have any people that have had a couple questions on the training, or any other part of the Compliance Center?
Yes, we do. So the first one is from Eliza, and she's asking if the compliance program is available in Spanish.
It is not available in Spanish. We will be making the training courses available in Spanish probably early next year. But currently the Bloodborne Pathogens, currently none of the training courses are available in Spanish. They will,
Great.
but not yet.
Mm-hmm. Great. Do you have an example of pictograms?
Yes, I do. Pictograms. Actually, what I'll let me show you this. It's probably be a much better way of actually showing it. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. These are pictograms. So what they do is that in a way for something that someone can easily identify visually, they're gonna these are the different pictograms that are part of that will show up on your GHS labels on your secondary containers, as well as on your MSTSs. So that we can see real quickly, okay, this is flammable. This is a health hazard. If it's a gas cylinder, if it's corrosive, if it's explosive, if it's an oxidizer. So these are the pictograms that will show up, and these will be consistent. So this will always mean that it's flammable or these other items, and this will always mean this. So the nice thing about the GHS is making everything 100% consistent, and these are the pictograms that you will be seeing. Great question, by the way.
Great question. Diana wants to know about updates. Do you update them annually? Is it just as new things are rolled out? How do updates happen?
Okay, updates. MSTSs themselves are updated nearly every day. Like I said, we have millions of MSTSs and they're constantly updated every day, every week. We're adding new MSTSs. As new GHS MSTSs come out, those will be updated. On the training courses, as the regulations change, or as we fit it, or more often, we update the training courses because things do change. All of our training courses, by the way, are probably none of our training courses, I think, are more than 12 to maybe 18 months old at the very most, because things change a lot. So I know our Hazcom training is about nine months old. Bloodborne Pathogens training is that was updated only about 3-4 months ago. HIPAA was just updated about 8 months ago. So as things change, and they do change a lot, our training programs, the MSTSs, safety plans, everything is constantly updated.
Great. Can you print out the safety plan?
Oh, absolutely. So, for instance, here I'm going to show you this here. It's really simple. If they were available, if they were completed, they would just be shown. They would be shown under this page. But since it isn't completed, what happens? Well, I'll show you this here. You click on Preview. It's going to bring it up as a PDF document, and right here. Then your little toolbar shows up. You just click Print. It'll print out the entire exposure control plan, for instance. So you can easily print any of those, any of your safety plans.
Great. There was some questions about the dashboard and audit tabs.
I forgot about those. Sure.
Yeah.
Dashboard's great. And the reason why this is so great because it shows you in a real quick picture, sort of like what is where you're in and out of compliance. You know, where have you started and where you haven't started. So like here, it's going to show, okay, well, these are the MSTSs that we searched and we saved and the safety plans that we started. So when you click on dashboard, you're going to know, okay, have we done much as far as staying in OSHA compliance? And give me 2 seconds here to talk about OSHA compliance. Some people see OSHA compliance as a headache, as a regulatory burden, just takes up time out of the day where they can be doing bad or things. Now, the idea behind the OSHA compliance on any parts of these, it's not just one or the other, is the fact that everything that you do with these makes you think about safety. And the thing why you want to think about safety is that accidents happen, chemical spills happen, people get injured. It's just always there's a nonstop slew of things that do happen. But a lot of those are preventable if things were kept in that if you thought about safety. Safety was always at the top of your head. So like this dashboard is gonna make you think about safety. Okay, have I completed all 4 of my safety plans? Have I taken training? Have I conducted an audit? Or do I have all my MSTSs? So this will tell you at a click of a button where you are in real time. And in audits are great. Audits allow you to. So I'm going to take an audit. I'm going to call it whatever I want. Call it a 930 audit, and I'm going to look at food preparation. All the schools have some type of food preparation, even if it's all catered in by Sodexo. You still have some type of food preparation. It allows you to take an audit, so you can figure out in your school what are you doing that is safe. And everything about this, by the way, revolves around safety. And so to make sure that, okay, are you preparing things properly? Gives you a whole slew of questions. So they want to make sure that whatever you're doing, from anywhere from serving up milk to your frozen desserts to your food temperatures, that you're sort of maintaining things on a safe level. In this case, so kids don't get sick. And all you really have to do, you say, oh gosh, yeah, we're in compliance with this, and you just save, go on to your next question. And God, do we keep hazardous food below 45? You can say, no, we we think 60 degrees is just fine. It's fine, but we'll fix that. So you can actually add a response to a question. You can actually do a corrective action. You can actually email it to someone and say, hey, Bob, fix this. And bob@bob.com, bobq@bob.com. Okay. And my name's Alan. And you can actually email it to to someone. You need to say how you can contact them. You can give them a due date. You can say, let's keep the food cooler. So you can actually send an email off to someone. It's all part of that entire thing. And then you can say, okay, I'm done here, and go off to the next question. And at that moment in time, actually, Bob's now going to get an email telling him that, hey, you need to keep the food colder, and you've already taken care of that. And he'll respond on a corrective action saying that it's been done. So you just ask a lot of questions dealing with. You can say, okay, we're in compliance in here. And then what happens is that you can now view a report at any time, and it's going to instantly give you a graphical report of where you're in or out of compliance. In this case, this is an out of compliance report. You can show where you're in compliance. You can do total compliance. So if I do a total compliance report, it shows graphically how much in compliance we are compared to all the questions that we've asked. In this case, it was just 3 so far. And then it tells us, okay, this is where we're out of compliance, okay, and we can determine, gosh, this is a critical problem, so we need to follow up with that. Then also does show where you are in compliance. A really important part of that is that you just need to make sure that things are done safely, because a lot of things you just don't think about. So with these parts here, I'm now going to say, gosh, I've corrected that. It's now in compliance. I'm going to save that. So actually, if I go back into this inspection again, I forgot to change something. I think I forgot to save that. So anyways, but it'll keep you up to date on your compliance. But with those in inspections, I'm going to go back into it. I'll just click Edit Inspection. It allows me to look at lots of different areas within the school itself. And these are audits. There's 75 different audits that you can take, dealing with anywhere from baking equipment, food service, electrical wiring within your school, guards, hazard communications, ladder stands, personal protective equipment, injury and occupational injury and the illness reporting, the pesticides, personal portable fire equipment, extinguishers. It covers a lot of areas. So, and the idea behind these audits is to make you think. Sorry for the very long answer, but I guess I needed to add in those couple extra areas. What other questions do we have, Jessica?
That was really thorough, and interesting. It was all relevant. Okay, so next, will there be yearly updates for changes in regulatory compliance?
There are constant updates to the regulatory compliance. So when there is a change to the regs, and by the way, regulations change every day. There's a book that comes out every single day, and it's not a pamphlet, it's a book. Sometimes it's hundreds of pages long that tell you about all the changes to the regulations for that day. So there are thousands and thousands of regulatory changes, and most regulations, by the way, are centered around safety, either food safety, highway safety, door safety, carpet safety. You deal with that. That's what regulations are really all about, is safety and fairness for everything. And when there is a change, we make a change to our system, either change the audits, change the training, change the MSGSs, change federal regulations, by the way. We store all those regulations. There are 225,000 federal regulations. Every single one of them I can put in school. I guarantee there's probably a lot of regulations in school, probably more than 500. And so you can find any regulation dealing with schools. In this case, it deals with flight schools, but I wasn't very particular, was I? So it tells you everything about this particular regulation, and of course, they are updated on a constant basis. But yes, so as things change, this entire system changes.
We are receiving some questions about the price of the program, and and I can take that one on schoolhealth.com. You have it open right there. Awesome. You can go and look at how this product is priced, and we will be sending a link, to the product in the post webinar email. As you can see, it's $99 per district per month for the system, and then you would buy training credits for your staff, and it's a tiered price, right? So you could buy 2 training credits for 2 staff members to take a training, right? So it's, a training credit is a price per member per course, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it basically it requires one training credit per staff member per course that they take. So staff member who takes Bloodborne Pathogens and HIPAA training, they'll require 2 training credits to take that course. And the more training credits that you buy at one time, the less it costs. So if you're buying more than 100 training credits, then it's only $12 per training credit. If you're buying less than 27, then it's only then it goes up to $19. So it's also a tiered pricing. So it's always to your benefit to buy, all of your training at the same time.
And this is an online program as opposed to something that you would load to your computer, and that's why you can do these updates sort of on the fly or every day, because it's online. They're not really like loading it to their computers, right?
Correct. Everything's online, and the great part about the online is, number one, it never gets old, because if you get a disc in the mail, that disc is already old by the time you ever receive it. It could have been, that training could have been from, they could have made it last month, they could have made it 5 years ago. So you don't necessarily know how relevant the information that you're being trained in on. The nice thing about online is that this whole online computer system is actually changed constantly. I mean, we changed the way that the user interfaces. We changed the training courses that are available, the regulations, everything. It changed because it changed. Things change so fast. The nice thing about the online is that the moment when you log in, you're getting the most current information at that exact moment. So if a regulation changed the day before, you're seeing it on that today. If training changed that day or the day before, you're going to have the most current training course that is available. And of course, you can't lose it. And of course, you can have 20 different people training at the same time. So there's no limit as to how many people can actually train simultaneously. You don't have to like toss a disc from person to person. Anyone can train anywhere. They can either train in the school, at home, in a Starbucks, wherever you want to go. And they can train, by the way, on any device. It could be on a computer. It could be on an iPad or a tablet. It can be on your phone. We've had people who take the training courses and watch it on their smartphone. Smaller screen, but they seem to manage just fine. That tends to be our younger students.
Sure. So I think an important thing to note at this point is that in the post-webinar email, we will be including a recording to this session as well as a certificate of attendance and a place where you can request to meet with a sales representative to discuss and get a customized quote for your needs. And because we're getting some questions wanting to know for their specific school, how much would it cost? And rather than go through everyone's specific needs, that it might be a good time in that post-webinar email to fill out the form to request someone to contact you back. And what we can do is write up a specialized quote just based off of how many your school district and how many people you need to train and what trainings they need to take, right? And so it is school district pricing, and for the $99 per school district per month, and then you need to decide how many employees you need to buy training credits for. So I think that is an important thing to note, is that we can type you up a specific quote, just for you, so that you can use that when you're speaking to your administrators and looking for funding and things like that. But that is the questions that we've received at this point. If there's anything else, you can feel free to type it up, or Alan, if you have any closing thoughts. But otherwise, I think this was really interesting. The different ways this program makes the compliance
yep.
quite a bit easier. So.
Yeah, just the one big closing thoughts basically is that by using something like this versus what instead of piecing things together, is that everything's in one place. Everything always will be in one place, so you never have to worry about where your documentation is, how to take the training, where your MSTSs are, where your safety plans are, how to update your safety plan. It takes care of all that for you. So it saves you so much time on the administration, so it really allows you to do something else. It allows you to do your job, which is being a nurse or being a teacher or being a coach, and not have to spend so much time taking training, administrating your safety plans, funding your MSTSs. So it's not just making things more comprehensive, it also saves you just a lot of time, which none of us ever have enough of.
Sure.
That's my thoughts. My thoughts today.
No, I agree. I don't think anyone's arguing with you there. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Alan, and thank you to everybody who attended today.